Every thought you allow into your mind has the power to shape your entire life. The way you think determines the actions you take, the decisions you make, and the results you experience every single day. Right now, the quality of your thoughts is either lifting you forward or holding you back. Most people live on autopilot, letting random ideas, fears, and doubts run their lives. But there's a simple truth: the mind is a tool, and it can be trained. Every successful person, every breakthrough, every achievement starts with disciplined thinking. The moment you take control of your thoughts, you take control of your destiny. This isn't about pretending life is perfect or ignoring challenges. It's about learning how to direct your energy, focus on what matters, and think in a way that creates solutions, confidence, and momentum. Imagine waking up each day with clarity, determination, and the mental strength to tackle anything that comes your way. Imagine turning every obstacle into a stepping stone and every setback into a lesson. That is the power of disciplined thinking. It's not luck, it's not chance, it's a skill, and it can be learned. For the next few minutes, you will discover exactly how to take responsibility for your thoughts, replace negativity with constructive alternatives, focus on what you can control, and train your mind to see possibilities where others see limits. These are not ideas to read and forget. They are practices to live by. When applied consistently, they transform your mindset, your actions, and ultimately, your life. This is about creating a mind that works for you, not against you. A mind that produces results, confidence, and a life worth. Part 1. Take responsibility for your thoughts. The strength of a person begins with what happens inside their own mind, and the moment someone accepts that truth, life starts to move in a different direction. Many people spend years blaming their surroundings, past mistakes, and unfair experiences for the way they think today, never realizing that this habit steals their power a little more each day. The real turning point arrives when a person decides to take full responsibility for every thought that rises in their mind. That decision may feel uncomfortable at first because it means acknowledging that every angry feeling, every moment of doubt, every excuse, and every wave of discouragement doesn't belong to anyone else. It belongs to the person who chooses to hold it. Accepting that responsibility brings a kind of freedom no one can hand over from the outside. It gives someone the chance to shape their future, same way they shape a piece of clay in their hands, slowly forming something better with every choice. A person who takes responsibility for their thoughts can feel the shift almost immediately. They begin to notice moments they used to ignore, like the quiet second when their mind tries to wander toward fear or frustration. They see how quickly the mind reacts to stress, to disappointment, or even to boredom. Instead of allowing those reactions to run wild, they pause and decide what stays and what goes. That pause might feel simple, but it can change the direction of an entire day. It creates space to breathe, to think more clearly, and to respond with purpose instead of reacting from old habits. The more someone practices this, the more control they gain, and the more confident they become in their ability to handle life's challenges with strength instead of panic. Taking responsibility for thoughts also means refusing to accept the idea that the mind is something that drags a person around like a leaf in the wind. The mind should not direct a person without their permission. Thoughts should not be random bursts of reaction that shape someone's mood and choices without their awareness. When someone understands this, they begin to treat their mental environment with the same care they would give to a home they love. They clean out things that don't belong there. They bring in ideas that lift their energy. They create a sense of order that brings peace. It doesn't require perfection. It only requires honesty. When a thought shows up that weakens the spirit, the person acknowledges it instead of pretending it doesn't exist. They observe it, understand where it came from, and decide whether to keep it or release it. Daily life becomes more meaningful when a person pays attention to what their mind is doing. They start to notice how certain situations trigger old memories, how certain people spark irritation or excitement, and how certain environments. This awareness gives them the chance to make better choices. They can choose to avoid situations that drag them down. They can choose to surround themselves with people who inspire them to grow. They can choose activities that enrich their mind and calm their emotions. These choices add up over time, slowly building a mental foundation that feels steady and strong. It becomes easier to stay focused, easier to stay positive, and easier to stay committed to personal goals. Accepting responsibility for thoughts also means refusing to depend on others to repair one's inner world. Many people wait for someone else to comfort them, guide them, or rescue them. They wait for approval or validation before deciding to believe something good about themselves. This waiting keeps them stuck. When a person decides to take full responsibility for the way they think, they stop expecting others to carry their emotional weight. They stop waiting for the perfect conditions to feel strong. They stop handing over their future to someone else's attitude or behavior. This creates a deeper sense of independence, not the kind that isolates a person, but the kind that allows them to stand tall, think clearly, and face challenges with courage. There is something powerful about waking up each day with the awareness that every thought is a choice. A person can choose to rise from bed with a feeling of gratitude for another chance to grow, or they can choose to focus on what frustrates them before the day even begins. They can choose to direct their attention toward opportunities, or they can choose to dwell on what is missing. This choice becomes easier when someone reminds themselves throughout the day that their mind works best under guidance, not neglect. A guided mind is sharp, steady, and dependable. A neglected mind becomes restless and unpredictable. Taking responsibility for thoughts also means refusing to entertain ideas that weaken personal character. When the mind whispers discouraging things, the person acknowledges it but refuses to accept it as truth. When the mind tries to replay the same old mistakes, they remind themselves that the past cannot be changed and does not deserve the power to control today. When the mind tries to convince them that a challenge is impossible, they breathe, stand firm, and look for a solution instead of surrendering. This mindset transforms ordinary days into meaningful ones because every challenge becomes a chance to grow stronger. People often underestimate the influence of simple thoughts. A single thought can change the tone of an entire morning. One thought can push a person forward or hold them back. One thought can turn a small irritation into a major frustration, or it can help someone stay calm and steady. When someone learns to guide their thinking, they begin to shape these moments with intention. They choose words that uplift them. They choose perspectives that keep them grounded. They choose inner dialogue that supports growth instead of feeding doubt. This doesn't happen overnight, but every small step creates progress. Responsibility also means noticing when the mind drifts into unhealthy patterns and gently bringing it back on track. Some days the mind wants to cling to worry. Other days it wants to linger on old resentment. When someone catches themselves slipping into these patterns, they don't punish themselves. Instead, they redirect their thoughts towards something that strengthens them. This practice develops emotional discipline, and emotional discipline builds resilience. A resilient person does not crumble easily. They don't break down at every setback. They adjust, adapt, and rise again with a spirit that refuses to give up by choosing to take responsibility for thoughts every single day. A person opens the door to a higher quality of life. They begin to feel more peaceful, more focused, and more alive. They notice how their relationships improve when they control their reactions. They notice how their health improves when stress no longer dominates their thinking. They notice how their confidence grows when their mind works with them instead of against them. This change attracts opportunities and builds a sense of purpose that keeps someone moving forward even during difficult times. Taking responsibility for thoughts is not just a skill, it is a way of living that lifts a person higher. It creates a mental foundation that cannot be easily shaken, no matter what happens in the outside world. It reminds someone every day that they are the ones who choose their inner direction. And when a person chooses wisely, life becomes clearer, richer, and far more fulfilling than they ever expected. Part 2, set clear. When a person begins to take control of their thinking, the next essential step is learning to set clear and specific goals. A life without goals is like a journey without a destination. It moves, but it rarely leads anywhere meaningful. Goals provide direction for the mind. They give thoughts a target, a purpose, a reason to focus. Without them, the mind drifts, easily distracted by every little challenge, every opinion, every circumstance that comes along. The first step toward growth is not vague ambition, it is clarity. People who write down exactly what they want and why they want it find themselves thinking differently. They notice opportunities they would have ignored. They reject distractions they would have accepted before. The mind begins to work as an ally rather than a passenger on a train that has no map. Clear goals give a person the power to organize their thoughts. When the mind has a direction, each thought can be measured against that destination. Is this thought helping me move forward, or is it pulling me off course? Goals allow someone to answer that question with confidence. Every decision becomes easier because it either aligns with the goal or it doesn't. This process creates mental clarity, and clarity reduces stress. A person no longer feels lost in the day-to-day chaos. Because each thought and each action is connected to something meaningful. When thoughts are aligned with clear goals, the energy and effort of the mind are multiplied, producing results that feel inevitable rather than accidental. Specificity is key. Goals must be concrete, measurable, and understandable. Saying I want to be successful is not enough. Success can mean different things to different people. Defining success in practical terms, a specific skill to develop, a financial target to reach, a project to complete, gives the mind a tangible target. When a person can see it, write it down, and describe it in detail, their thoughts become sharper. The mind naturally starts generating ideas and solutions that move toward that specific outcome. It begins prioritizing actions that support progress and avoiding distractions that slow momentum. This specificity also excites excitement and motivation because the goal feels real, achievable, and immediate rather than distant and abstract. Setting goals also forces someone to make decisions about what is truly important. The human mind is drawn to multiple directions at once, easily pulled by distractions, emotions, and external influences. Goals act as a filter. Thoughts that align with objectives are nurtured. Thoughts that don't support progress are noticed and released. This is a kind of mental training that strengthens focus. Over time, the brain becomes accustomed to thinking strategically rather than reactively. Challenges that once caused frustration or indecision are now seen as obstacles to solve rather than walls to avoid. This mental shift produces confidence because the person sees a direct link between disciplined thought and real progress toward what matters most. Another critical factor is breaking goals into smaller, manageable pieces. A large goal can feel overwhelming if it is only viewed as a whole. The mind can become paralyzed by the scale of the task. but dividing it into steps transforms it into a series of actions, each of which is achievable. Thoughts naturally gravitate toward planning these steps, considering resources, and identifying potential roadblocks. This process makes progress visible, which fuels motivation and reduces the risk of giving up. Every small victory strengthens confidence and reinforces the habit of responsible thinking. The mind starts associating effort with reward, which creates a cycle of productivity and satisfaction. Writing goals down is more than a symbolic exercise. The physical act of putting thoughts on paper solidifies them in the mind, but a written goal becomes a reference point, a touchstone for reflection. Each day, a person can check their thoughts against this record. Am I thinking in ways that move me forward? Am I prioritizing what matters? Am I allowing distractions to pull me off course? This constant comparison keeps the mind disciplined and ensures that thinking is intentional rather than random. It trains the mind to notice opportunities, plan strategically, and act decisively, all qualities that are impossible to develop without clear targets. Visualizing the goal as part of the process strengthens thinking further. A person who imagines themselves reaching a goal begins to experience the emotions of success in advance: confidence, pride, excitement, and determination. These mental rehearsals create pathways in the brain that make the real achievement feel attainable. Thoughts start focusing naturally on solutions rather than problems. Obstacles become challenges to overcome rather than reasons to quit. This mental rehearsal reinforces responsibility for thinking because it requires conscious engagement rather than passive observation. Every time the mind practices envisioning success, it becomes stronger, more directed, and more capable. So, accountability also plays a role. Sharing goals with someone trustworthy, tracking progress, and reviewing steps regularly ensures that the mind remains aligned with priorities. This habit teaches discipline in thinking because it requires evaluation and honesty. A person notices when they've strayed from productive thoughts or wasted energy on distractions. Awareness combined with action. The mind learns to self-correct, which strengthens resilience and reinforces the habit of thinking with responsibility. Over time, this becomes automatic. A person begins instinctively to guide thoughts toward productive directions, to make choices that support their goals, and to reject distractions before they derail progress. Ultimately, setting clear, specific goals transforms life because it teaches the mind to focus on what matters. Thoughts stop wandering aimlessly and start accumulating power. They start solving problems, planning strategies, generating ideas, and producing results. The mental energy that was previously wasted on worry, doubt, or indecision is redirected into action. The person becomes intentional, proactive, and confident. Life feels fuller, more purposeful, and more in control. Goals are not just wishes. They are the roadmap for responsible thinking, a blueprint for action, and a foundation for personal growth. Every day, thought by thought, decision by decision, they move closer to the life they have deliberately designed. Part 3. Replace negative thoughts with positive alternatives. The mind has a natural tendency to focus on problems, failures, and things that could go wrong. Every person experiences it, and it can feel like those negative thoughts appear out of nowhere, taking control before there is a chance to respond. The difference between someone who succeeds and someone who struggles often comes down to how they handle these thoughts. Taking responsibility for thinking means noticing negativity and replacing it with thoughts that serve growth, confidence, and clarity. It doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It means choosing responses that create solutions rather than magnifying problems. Every time the mind shifts toward a positive alternative, a little more energy, focus, and resilience are built. and the way life is experienced begins to change dramatically. Negative thoughts often sneak in. They start as doubts. I can't do this, I'm not good enough, or this is too hard. If these thoughts are left unchecked, they grow into patterns influencing emotions, decisions, and actions. The first step to replacing them is awareness. A person must notice when negativity enters the mind, recognize it without judgment, and understand its effect. Observing a thought gives the power to intervene. Once a negative thought is caught, it can be questioned. Is this thought true? Is it helping me move forward? Is it aligned with the life I want to live? This kind of self-questioning interrupts the automatic flow of negativity and allows the mind to shift toward constructive thinking. Replacing negative thoughts requires intentionality. The mind must be trained to pause and redirect attention towards solutions, gratitude, or possibilities. Instead of dwelling on failure, a person can think about what can be learned from the situation. Instead of focusing on limitations, they can consider strengths and opportunities. This redirection strengthens the mind over time, creating a habit of seeking constructive perspectives. Thoughts that were once self-defeating begin to guide actions in productive directions. Challenges no longer feel like roadblocks, but opportunities to apply intelligence, creativity, and persistence. The mind becomes a tool for building confidence rather than feeding doubt. It's important to have alternatives ready. Positive thinking doesn't mean forcing happiness or pretending that life is perfect. It means consciously choosing thoughts that lead to action, growth, and strength. For instance, when the mind whispers, "I can't handle this," it can be met with, "I can handle this if I take it step by step." When a setback arises, the thought, "This is impossible," can be replaced with, "I will find a way forward if I focus on what I can control." These alternatives provide direction. They remind the mind of possibilities instead of limitations. Over time, the brain starts automatically seeking solutions rather than amplifying problems, which produces more consistent confidence and mental energy. Another layer of this process is emotional transformation. Negative thoughts generate stress, fear, and tension in the body. Positive alternatives create calm, focus, and motivation. The body reacts to thoughts. Feelings are the language of the mind. When thoughts shift toward constructive, solution-oriented alternatives, emotions stabilize. Someone who struggles with self-doubt notices it begins to diminish. Someone who tends to worry finds their focus on action increasing. The mind and body work together, reinforcing mental resilience and emotional balance. Life feels more manageable because the internal environment is steady, even when external circumstances are challenging. Replacing negative thoughts, the mind has been conditioned over years to default towards self-criticism, fear, or pessimism. Changing this pattern does not happen overnight. Every time a person catches a negative thought and replaces it, they are reinforcing a new mental pathway. Every small victory strengthens confidence in the ability to think deliberately. The brain gradually becomes wired to recognize patterns that were previously automatic, giving the individual a greater sense of control. This consistency compounds over time, producing measurable results in mindset, productivity, and emotional strength. Accountability and reflection are also powerful tools. Tracking thoughts, noting triggers for negativity, and reviewing progress help maintain awareness and improvement. A person can see what situations, conversations, or environments tend to produce negative thinking, and then prepare strategies to This proactive approach strengthens discipline. It transforms reactive thinking into intentional thinking. Instead of letting circumstance, the person begins shaping the environment and mental response to align with their goals and values. Life becomes more organized and predictable in a positive sense, reducing the chaos that negativity often produces. Practical habits support this mental shift. Journaling thoughts, repeating affirmations, and creating mental check-ins throughout the day help replace negative patterns with constructive alternatives. For example, pausing during stressful moments to articulate a solution-oriented thought rewires the mind toward optimism and action. Over time, this becomes natural. The brain begins automatically filtering negativity and selecting thoughts that are more likely to lead to results. This habit strengthens not only confidence but also resilience, adaptability, and creativity, which are essential in every area of life. Replacing negative thoughts is not just about avoiding failure, it's about building opportunity. Thoughts shape decisions, actions, and outcomes. A mind consumed by negativity avoids challenges, misses chances, and undermines personal potential. A mind trained to replace negative thinking with constructive alternatives sees possibilities, identifies solutions, and takes bold action. This is where growth and achievement originate. The mind becomes an ally rather than an obstacle. Success, fulfillment, and progress are no longer dependent on luck or external circumstances, but on the consistent practice of guiding thinking toward productive alternatives. The process also strengthens confidence. When someone realizes they can control their mental dialogue, they no longer feel at the mercy of fleeting emotions or random circumstances. They know that even if the world is chaotic, their thoughts can remain calm, focused, and solution-oriented. Each positive thought reinforces their ability to handle challenges with composure and clarity. Over time, this builds a sense of personal power that is independent of external approval or validation. The mind becomes a sanctuary where focus, clarity, and determination thrive, and where negativity has little influence. Ultimately, replacing negative thoughts with positive alternatives is about living intentionally. Life is too short to spend mental energy on self-doubt, fear, or regret. Every thought is a choice. Every mental decision shapes actions, emotions, and outcomes. The person who consistently chooses constructive, solution-focused thinking finds life becoming more manageable, opportunities more visible, and challenges less intimidating. The mind becomes an instrument of growth, creativity, and achievement, producing results that reflect consistent responsibility, awareness, and deliberate effort. Every moment of intentional thought builds momentum that compounds over days, months, and years, transforming ordinary life into one of purpose, control, and fulfillment. Part 4. Focus on what you can control. Life can feel overwhelming when attention is scattered across too many things that are beyond personal influence. Most people waste enormous energy worrying about situations they cannot change. Other people's decisions, the economy, the weather, or unexpected setbacks. That wasted energy creates stress, frustration, and a sense of helplessness. The first step to mastering thought is to recognize exactly what is within personal control. It's not a limitation, it's the key to freedom. When a person focuses on what they can influence, their attitude, their decisions, their actions, they discover that the mind becomes lighter, sharper, and more powerful. Energy that was once scattered on things outside their influence is now directed toward building solutions and creating opportunities and moving forward in meaningful ways. Focusing on what is controllable requires clarity. A person must distinguish between what they can affect and what they cannot. It may seem simple, but it is not always easy. Human nature gravitates toward worry, speculation, and blame. Thoughts often wander to scenarios that are entirely hypothetical or beyond reach. But by noticing these mental detours and redirecting attention to areas of influence, the mind starts to work more efficiently. Decisions are made more quickly because options are evaluated based on the factors that truly matter. Frustration diminishes because energy is no longer wasted on impossible to change circumstances. The focus becomes practical, tangible, and immediately actionable. This principle also changes how challenges are approached. Instead of feeling paralyzed when faced with obstacles, a person who focuses on what they can control begins asking constructive questions. What steps can I take right now? What decisions are mine to make? How can I respond in a way that moves me forward? Shifting thinking in this manner transforms a problem from a source of stress into an opportunity for action. Even when situations are difficult or unpredictable, there is always some element within personal control, and concentrating on it creates a mental habit of solution-oriented thinking rather than reactionary or fearful thinking, which is the hallmark of resilience and success. Focusing on controllable factors also strengthens emotional resilience. When attention is placed on things outside control, emotions often escalate, fear grows, frustration intensifies, and discouragement accumulates. But when energy is placed on personal actions and choices, the mind feels empowered. Stress levels drop because the person realizes that they are not helpless observers, they are active participants shaping outcomes within their influence. This awareness brings confidence, calmness, and focus. Emotions no longer hijack thinking because every step is aligned with practical action rather than worry over the uncontrollable. The mental environment becomes orderly, stable, and productive. Stable and productive. Organization plays a crucial role. A person who understands the limits of their influence becomes selective with where attention and effort are applied. Instead of reacting to every problem or every opinion, they focus only on decisions, actions, and attitudes that matter. Time and energy are spent deliberately rather than scattered. Mental clutter reduces because the mind is no longer overburdened by unnecessary thoughts. Productivity increases because the focus is on tasks that have a measurable effect. Life feels more structured, manageable, and meaningful, not because external circumstances have changed, but because internal attention has been trained to target what actually matters. This focus also enhances when energy is not wasted on uncontrollable variables. The mind has more capacity to generate creative solutions, anticipate consequences, and plan strategically. Decisions are more informed because thought is concentrated on tangible actions rather than speculation. Opportunities are more visible because the mind is not clouded by unnecessary worry or distraction. Challenges, even when significant, are approached with clarity and composure. A person begins to notice patterns, identify leverage points, and act decisively in ways that others might overlook. This ability to focus effectively becomes a competitive advantage in every area of life, from personal growth to career, finances, and relationships. Daily life demonstrates the impact of focusing on controllable elements. Mornings start with preparation, choosing mindset, setting intentions, and planning actions for the day. When setbacks occur, the mind does not spiral into blame or regret. It immediately scans the situation for actionable steps. Relationships improve because responses are deliberate rather than reactive. Stress decreases because the mental effort is applied where it has value. Even during crises, the person remains grounded, thinking through options and acting strategically. By controlling what can be controlled, life becomes more predictable, more intentional, and less reactive, creating a sense of mastery over circumstances rather than being mastered by them. This approach also affects life. People who habitually focus on what they can influence develop consistency, discipline, and foresight. They notice how small, controllable actions accumulate into meaningful results over time. Thoughts are directed toward habits, behaviors, and attitudes that produce compounding benefits. Wasted energy on complaints, Speculation or envy diminishes, freeing resources for personal development. Mental strength grows because discipline and focus create self-trust. The person learns that they can reliably navigate challenges by concentrating on what is theirs to handle, not by being distracted by the uncontrollable. A crucial aspect of this practice is accepting reality. Controlling what is controllable does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending life is fair. It means facing reality honestly and then choosing the part of the situation that is actionable. The mind stops being trapped in, if only thinking, and starts acting in the present moment. This transforms perception. Problems become tasks, obstacles become opportunities for strategy, and stress becomes a signal for attention rather than a source of despair. The brain begins to automatically scan situations for actionable items, making daily life more productive and mentally peaceful. This mental habit reinforces confidence, clarity, and inner stability, which radiates into every part of life. Ultimately, focusing on what can be controlled is about reclaiming power. Every person has thoughts, attitudes, and actions that are entirely theirs to manage. Wasting energy on what is beyond control is unnecessary suffering. Energy applied to what can be influenced produces tangible results, strengthens the mind, and improves emotional well-being. A disciplined focus on controllable factors transforms ordinary life into intentional living, reduces anxiety, and builds resilience. Each choice, thought, and action becomes a step toward mastery of the mind, the day, and ultimately the life being designed. By owning this principle, the mind becomes a tool for progress, not a victim of circumstance. Every day becomes an opportunity to exercise control where it matters most, creating momentum, confidence, and lasting achievement. Part 5, develop a growth mindset. The way a person thinks about themselves and their abilities is the foundation of everything they achieve. A fixed mindset believes that talent, intelligence, and potential are limited and cannot change. A growth mindset understands that abilities are developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Thinking in this way transforms the mind from a place of limitation into a field of possibilities. When someone fully embraces the idea that their mind, skills, and habits can improve over time, they begin to approach challenges differently. Obstacles are no longer threats but opportunities to learn. Failures are no longer reasons to quit but lessons to adapt and grow. Every thought becomes a chance to expand, improve, and take steps toward becoming a better version of oneself. A growth mindset begins with curiosity. It requires noticing gaps in knowledge or skills without judgment and asking, how can I get better? This approach encourages reflection on mistakes rather than avoiding them. Instead of thinking, I can't do this, the mind shifts to, I haven't figured this out yet, but I can. This simple change in wording has a profound effect on thought patterns and motivation. It reduces fear of failure because failure is reframed as a necessary step in the learning process. So it increases resilience because every challenge is an opportunity to develop new strategies, test abilities, and grow stronger. Thinking itself becomes a form of action. When someone adopts a growth mindset, they begin to notice patterns of limitation in their own thinking. Self-doubt, fear, and negative assumptions are seen for what they are, old habits that can be changed. Each time the mind challenges these limiting thoughts and replaces them with possibilities, confidence increases. The individual starts to trust their ability to learn, adapt, and solve problems. This trust reinforces effort because the mind believes that hard work and persistence will pay off. Energy that was previously consumed by worry or hesitation is redirected toward action, creativity, and problem solving. Life begins to feel more dynamic, flexible, and empowering. A growth mindset also affects how a person approaches learning. Instead of avoiding situations that feel difficult or uncomfortable, the mind embraces them as opportunities for expansion. Mistakes are analyzed without shame. Feedback is welcomed, not feared. The brain begins to associate effort with progress rather than struggle. Thinking becomes more constructive because it is consistently focused on solutions, strategies, and improvement. Over time, this pattern rewires the mind to see potential rather than limitation in every situation. Confidence grows, decision-making improves, and resilience strengthens. Life feels like a journey of development rather than a series of obstacles to endure. This mindset also transforms reactions to external events. Challenges that once caused frustration or panic are now approached calmly with the question, what can I learn from this? What can I control and improve? What steps will bring me closer to a solution? Focusing on these actionable elements builds clarity and momentum. Thoughts are no longer consumed by blame or worry. Emotional responses are aligned with problem solving rather than reactionary thinking. Over time, this creates a mental environment that is organized, focused, and resilient, where challenges serve as training grounds for intelligence, patience, and creativity. A growth mindset enhances goal achievement. The mind begins to see that effort, planning, and persistence can overcome obstacles. Goals are approached systematically because thinking is oriented towards strategies for improvement rather than fear of failure. Even when setbacks occur, the mind quickly evaluates what went wrong, adjusts the approach, and continues forward. Each challenge becomes a lesson, each small success builds confidence, and each failure strengthens determination. This combination produces consistent progress over time, creating a life where thought, action, and results are tightly aligned. The brain is no longer a source of limitation, but a powerful engine for growth. One of the most powerful aspects of a growth mindset is how it influences relationships and interactions. People with this mindset are less judgmental of themselves and others because they understand that growth is possible. They notice potential rather than fixate on shortcomings. Their thoughts naturally seek solutions in conflicts or difficulties rather than assigning blame. This creates an environment of collaboration, learning, and support. They inspire others because their mindset demonstrates the power of deliberate thinking, persistence, and adaptability. The mind becomes not only a tool for personal progress, but also a source of influence and inspiration for others. Practicing a growth mindset requires deliberate effort and reflection. Daily mental exercises, reviewing challenges, and consciously reframing negative assumptions strengthen the habit. The mind is trained to notice opportunities for improvement, identify strategies for success, and stay persistent despite setbacks. This consistent focus rewires thinking patterns, making growth-oriented thought the default rather than the exception. Every challenge becomes an invitation to develop skill, character, and intelligence. Every day becomes an opportunity to practice thinking in ways that produce measurable progress, confidence, and fulfillment. Ultimately, developing a growth mindset transforms life because it redefines the way thinking works. The mind is no longer a source of fear, limitation, or doubt. Instead, it becomes a powerful instrument for learning, problem solving, and achievement. Each thought is a choice. Will it reinforce limitation or possibility? Each action flows from the quality of thinking, and each result reflects the mindset behind it. Over time, the cumulative effect of consistent growth-oriented thinking produces not only achievement and success, but also resilience, confidence, and fulfillment. Life becomes a journey of progress, guided by deliberate thought and purposeful action, where the mind continuously expands, adapts, and rises to every challenge. Part 6, guard your mind from toxic influences. The quality of what enters the mind has a direct impact on the quality of life. Every thought, every word, every piece of information consumed shapes beliefs, attitudes, and decisions. Toxic influences, negative people, harmful media, constant complaining, and self-critical messages slow progress, drain energy, and cloud judgment. Protecting the mind is not about isolation, it's about being intentional with what is allowed to take residence in thoughts. A mind filled with toxic noise becomes reactive, anxious, and unfocused. A mind that is guarded, however, remains clear, calm, and capable of making decisions that align with goals and values. This practice is a form of self-respect because it recognizes that mental space is precious and must be preserved for thinking that produces growth, creativity, and resilience. Guarding the mind begins with awareness. It requires noticing what consumes attention daily. Television programs, social media feeds, conversations, and even internal dialogue all contribute to the mental environment. When negative patterns are identified, a person has the power to choose differently. They can stop following sources that spread fear, anger, or discouragement. They can limit time spent with people who drain energy or amplify worry. They can reject self-critical thoughts that do not serve improvement. Every choice to protect mental space reinforces clarity and focus, creating a foundation where productive thinking thrives. Boundaries are essential. A person cannot fully control the world, but they can control exposure. Setting limits on what is consumed mentally creates freedom rather than restriction. Avoiding toxic media does not mean ignorance, deliberate selection. Choosing to read, watch, or listen to material that educates, inspires, or challenges the mind positively creates an environment where growth is possible. Similarly, choosing relationships that encourage accountability, support, and perspective strengthens the mind's ability to think clearly. Energy is no longer wasted on negativity or fear, but invested in ideas and connections that produce progress. Internal dialogue also requires protection. Often, the harshest criticism comes from within. Negative self-talk erodes confidence, diminishes focus, and undermines action. Guarding the mind includes observing these thoughts and replacing them with constructive alternatives. A person can identify patterns of self-doubt and consciously redirect thoughts towards solutions, learning, and encouragement. Over time, the mind becomes a supportive environment where motivation is nurtured rather than sabotaged. Each moment of conscious redirection strengthens the ability to maintain mental clarity even in the face of external pressure or adversity. Intentional exposure to ideas that build skill, knowledge, and perspective is a vital part of guarding the mind. When thoughts are fueled by learning, reflection, and positive dialogue, the mind naturally becomes more creative, focused, and resilient. Toxic influence often clouds judgment, encourages fear, and diminishes action. Positive influence illuminates possibilities, encourages persistence, and strengthens confidence. A person who carefully curates what enters their mind develops mental habits that prioritize progress, stability, and clarity. Over time, this becomes a lifestyle of deliberate thought where external chaos has less influence on inner calm and productivity. Guarding the mind also strengthens decision-making. When mental space is free from unnecessary noise and negativity, it is easier to focus on priorities and choose actions that lead to results. The mind becomes decisive because it is no longer pulled in multiple directions by conflicting opinions or emotional turbulence. Challenges are approached strategically rather than reactively. Energy is directed towards solutions instead of complaints. This discipline of thought produces consistency, clarity, and effectiveness that influence every area of life: career, relationships, personal growth, and health. A person who guards their mind also cultivates resilience. Toxic influences often amplify fear, doubt, and frustration during setbacks. When exposure to negativity is minimized, the mind is better equipped to process challenges calmly and constructively. The ability to recover from difficulty is strengthened because the mind is trained to focus on solutions and learning opportunities rather than reacting to discouragement. This produces mental stamina, the capacity to navigate adversity while maintaining focus, clarity, and a sense of personal power. Over time, resilience becomes automatic because the mind has been nurtured to prioritize growth and stability. Consistency is critical. Guarding the mind is not a one-time action, it is a daily practice. Each day, a person must choose what to allow in and what to reject. Every decision to limit toxic influence reinforces the habit of intentional thinking. Mental energy becomes more concentrated, actions more effective, and life more aligned with goals. The mind becomes a tool for creativity, problem solving, and progress rather than a battlefield for distraction, fear, or negativity. This consistent protection over time produces a life where thoughts lead naturally to meaningful results and personal satisfaction. Ultimately, guarding the mind from toxic influences is an act of empowerment. It recognizes that while external events cannot always be controlled, the internal environment, the mind can. Choices about what to think about, who to listen to, and what to read or watch have enormous influence on life outcomes. By creating mental boundaries and intentionally feeding the mind with constructive ideas, a person ensures that thoughts are aligned with goals, solutions, and growth. The mind becomes strong, clear, and resilient. Energy is focused, confidence grows, and life becomes a reflection of deliberate thinking rather than random influence. In this way, protecting the mind is one of the most important investments a person can make in themselves, producing clarity, strength, and success every day. Part 7. Visualize success. The mind responds to images, ideas, and possibilities far more powerfully than to wishful thinking. Visualization is not just daydreaming. It is a conscious exercise of the imagination, creating a clear picture of what success looks like and feels like. When a person imagines themselves achieving goals, overcoming challenges, and living the life they desire, it changes the way the mind approaches reality. Thoughts start to align with action. The brain begins to search for opportunities, solutions, and strategies that support the vision. Visualize turns abstract goals into concrete experiences in the mind, making them feel real, achievable, and worth pursuing with energy and determination. To visualize effectively, clarity is essential. A vague image produces little effect. The mind needs detail, precision, and emotion. Picture the goal as if it has already been achieved. What does it look like? What sounds, sensations, and emotions are present? How does it feel to reach this milestone, to succeed in this endeavor? The more sensory detail included, the more the mind responds as if the experience is already real. This creates a mental rehearsal, training the brain and body to behave in ways that align with the desired outcome. Thoughts, decisions, and actions begin to support the vision automatically because the mind has already practiced success internally. Visualization also strengthens confidence. Fear, doubt, and hesitation often arise from uncertainty, the unknown of what lies ahead. By repeatedly imagining success, the mind becomes familiar with achievement. Obstacles feel less intimidating because the brain has rehearsed navigating them. Decision-making becomes more confident because thoughts are anchored in possibility rather than fear. Each day spent visualizing success reinforces the belief that goals are attainable. This belief produces action, and action generates results. The cycle compounds over time. Clear visualization leads to focused thought, which leads to decisive action, which leads to measurable progress and increased confidence. The emotional impact of visualization is significant. Thoughts carry feelings, and feelings influence behavior. When a person visualizes success vividly, the emotions of pride, satisfaction, excitement, and determination are experienced in the present moment. These feelings motivate action, boost perseverance, and maintain focus even during setbacks. The mind learns that success is desirable and possible, not just abstract. Repeated emotional experience strengthens mental resilience. Obstacles are seen as challenges to overcome rather than threats to avoid. The brain naturally begins connecting effort with reward, creating a feedback loop where motivation is self-sustaining and thought is disciplined toward productive outcomes. Visualization also improves problem solving. The mind that routinely imagines success develops creativity and strategic thinking. By mentally rehearsing the steps needed to reach goals, potential challenges are anticipated, strategies are refined, and resources are evaluated in advance. The mind begins to generate solutions before problems arise, which increases efficiency and reduces stress. Visualization trains the mind to act proactively rather than reactively. It cultivates foresight, mental flexibility, and focus, ensuring that thoughts are consistently aligned with goals and capable of producing results even in the face of obstacles. Consistency is key to the power of visualization. Practicing it daily embeds the images and emotions into the subconscious. Even during routine tasks, the mind begins referencing these visions, shaping decisions, behaviors, and habits to match the desired outcome. Over time, the repeated mental rehearsal produces real-world momentum. Actions become intentional, opportunities are recognized more readily, and confidence becomes a default state. Visualization turns achievable outcomes by creating a mental blueprint for success that the brain and body learn to follow naturally. Another important aspect is integrating visualization with clear goals and disciplined thinking. Visualization alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by a deliberate plan, structured action, and accountability. The combination of vivid mental rehearsal and practical execution strengthens focus, reduces doubt, and ensures consistent progress. Each day, thoughts, decisions, and behaviors align more closely with the vision, producing measurable results. The mind becomes trained to prioritize actions that matter, reject distractions, and persist through challenges, creating a life that reflects the vision consistently. Visualization, the mind trained to see success, begins noticing opportunities, resources, and solutions that would otherwise be overlooked. People, connections, and ideas appear aligned with the vision. Circumstances that once seemed random begin to make sense as steps along the path. This heightened awareness strengthens confidence and reinforces disciplined thinking. The mind becomes attuned to possibilities, capable of identifying strategies, and resilient when facing obstacles. Each visualization session sharpens mental focus and prepares the mind to act decisively in alignment with goals. Ultimately, visualizing success regularly transforms the way life is experienced. Thoughts move from doubt and hesitation toward clarity and determination. Energy that might have been wasted on fear or uncertainty is now directed toward purposeful action. The mind becomes an active participant in shaping reality rather than a passive observer. Visualization turns ambition into tangible experience, goals into achievable plans, and potential into reality. By practicing this consistently, the mind, emotions, and actions align, producing progress, confidence, and fulfillment. Life becomes a reflection of deliberate thought, where success is not only imagined, but consistently created through disciplined mental focus. Disciplining your thinking is not a one-time event. It's a daily commitment. Every thought you allow, every choice you make, and every action you take either strengthens your mind or weakens it. You now have the tools to take responsibility for your thoughts, Replace negativity with positive alternatives. Focus on what you can control. Develop a growth mindset. Guard your mind from toxic influences. Visualize success. Practice affirmations. Cultivate patience, and reflect on your progress. Each of these steps builds a mind that works for you, not against you. The difference between a life of regret and a life of fulfillment is how you manage your thinking. Thinking. Your thoughts shape your emotions, your decisions, your actions, and ultimately your results. When you commit to disciplined, intentional thinking, you reclaim control over your destiny. You stop being a passenger and start being the driver. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and every day becomes a chance to move closer to the life you deserve. It starts with the choice to be conscious of your thoughts. It starts with the decision to replace negativity with clarity and purpose. It starts with the commitment to feed your mind with ideas, actions, and habits that build growth, confidence, and resilience. There is nothing outside your mind that can stop you once you master the way you think. Today is the day to take control. Today is the day to discipline your mind, guide your thoughts, and design your life with intention. The power to create the future you desire is already within you. It lives in every decision you make, every thought you nurture, and every action you take. Make the choice to think deliberately, act consistently, and never let your mind wander into weakness. Your life will follow the quality of your thinking. Shape it well, and nothing can hold you back.